Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing? This is the last stretch, and we're the last of the Mohicans. So, all right, folks. So, again, I can't thank you guys enough. I know some of you guys have been with me all day. God bless you. You guys get a star in my heart. Feel free to hit me up on LinkedIn. I will give you a virtual star, and we'll make it happen for you. But really, today we're really focusing on what does it look like for an AI-driven workspace. What kind of transformation impact we're going to have? A lot of times we're looking at this impact as a Jenga. Has everybody played Jenga before? You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. This is a Jenga piece of our new landscape as project managers. You have that one piece that's a little wiggly and you think you can get it, but again, the discoveries of AI and the way we are working with certain functionalities with our dev teams to our process teams to our customer service teams, they're all holding their breath because they know that one Jenga piece may not topple down everybody. And that's sort of what we're kind of focusing on. So really, we're going to look at the, hey Chris, do you mind blowing that up for me? I can't see it. So sorry. We're really going to work on the workplace impact. We're going to talk about, sorry y'all, I'm blind as a bat, so my progressives do not do well in dim lighting, so he had to blow it up for me, so sorry. So really, we're going to look at the workplace impact, understanding what the transformation is going to be, looking at the human impact, basically saying how we're going to work with the AI, and then also too of how to develop a strategy approach to adopting AI. A lot of questions around right now, and it's a hot topic, is how do we develop it? How do we implement it? What are the discovery pieces? How are we going to manage what we need to manage? And so that's sort of what we're going to be discussing a little bit. And then lastly is the workforce development for AI. I talked about how a lot of the workers now are having an equal baseline in terms of people with disabilities, from autism, ADHD, to anxiety and things of that nature. And it's really streamlining those issues with, helping with emails, being able to function better, and having less roadblocks along the way, maybe a little bit anti-embarrassment functionalities there too, of like, I don't want to ask my boss, but I really need this answer really quick. I've got the documents, let's go. Not to mention too, we're going to briefly discuss how the workforce may change. These repetitive jobs, are they becoming obsolete? How are you going to develop those teams that are your stamp, I call them stampers, they stamp the same thing day in, day out. But when you replace that AI Jenga piece, those pieces will fall, right? Because we're replacing something that they've been doing for 20 plus years, or they're doing it for, minimum wage or what have you. But being able to take those people and say, you know what, we're gonna reinvest into you and really rebuild you up into AI, so you're not losing your job, you're gaining a new skill, and you're still remaining on the workforce. So really, we're looking at AI workplace impact, and what we discussed earlier today, and thank y'all so much for holding on to our third and last presentation, is, we're doing these automation of routine tasks, right? We're being able to really pull apart the breakdowns of what is a true masterpiece of a workflow. What kind of workflow that we need to automate? The biggest example that I have is customer service. And I don't know about y'all, but Amazon's customer service, it's integrated, y'all. It integrates, when you do the chatbot thing, it integrates into their system that integrates into a customer service rep that you may or may not get to, but it still integrates, right? And so we're looking to see what are those routine tasks that we can start to bring together. Also, too, the augmentation of human capabilities. Like I talked about earlier about people with disabilities and people that may not have the level that you need. So example, So you're on a project, you have a junior PM, they've got the wide availability, they're ready to rock and roll, they're like, yeah, I can do it. And then they go, well, no, I can't. It's a big, big hill. I don't know what we're going to do, but it's a big hill. Well, with AI, you can walk them through the process or be able to augment some of the human capabilities that are may be limiting, but also too, be able to really establish more of a presence of, AI is not going to fold your laundry, clean the house, that sort of thing. But we're really looking at, this is a tool. And like, for example, I was talking to somebody earlier, it's like dial-up. Remember dial-up? It was the most annoying thing on earth. But look at it now. We have no noise, and it's instant gratification. The internet was, right? And we augmented our human experience within a virtual presence, right? Same thing with AI. We're going to be in a spot pretty soon where we're ending up being able to say, you know what? It's sort of an extra arm. It's a bionic arm that can do so many things, not to mention it can grow your company faster. You can have a reliability aspect of where your KPIs are on a daily aspect and being able to say, you know what, we can save a little bit of money here, but really we can drive home that project that can get us millions of dollars and that nice yacht down at Miami Beach, and party on the weekends, That's the dream that we dream, right? But again, too, being able to really understand the human capability functionalities. And also, too, like I mentioned before, shifting the job roles and the skill demands. I mean, right now, there's a product called Air AI, where it picks up the phone for you and goes, hey, Joe, how's it going? Oh, yeah, we got that sales rep call on Tuesday, but do you have any questions? Do you have any obligations? And Joe's like, yeah, I have a lot of da-da-da-da-da. Well, this AI is basically being your sales rep for you and eliminating objections, eliminating those things. But look at your sales force. Like, your sales team's like, well, there's my job. What am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to do it? And so we're taking these people that are the stamp people, day in, day out, working on your sales team or working on your project team that just does 1 or 2 or 3 tasks well. You're looking at shifting them a little bit. Back in, now, we're coming from a expert mode, right? We're all expert PMs. We are the expert on our craft, right? We're we have our technical PMs, we have our program PMs, we have, all these titles, and a lot of them are gatekeeping aspects, right? But really, we're going to shift again instead of all knowing, all great, to I've got hats of many colors. I've got hats for this. And we're becoming more generalized in the way we deal with AI and the way we deal with certain things, because honestly, AI can be our expert, but we need somebody that has many skills and many soft skills and many human aspects that AI doesn't. So we're kind of migrating and kind of merging and molding this new process in a way that is really going to shift a lot of low-lying jobs. And again, that Jenga piece, it's all about that Jenga piece, right? It may do good for the whole, but some of them may tumble. And like in the early 90s, we had the internet bubble. We had a new process in place. I remember, sorry, I'm going to date myself, so please forgive me, but I remember going to the city to pay a light bill, and I remember putting it in the slot with the check and walking out. And you had to be there by 5 or the door's closed, right? Now, look at it now. You can literally go auto pay. Okay, we're going to McDonald's. Okay, see you later. I mean, when I was, of age, little me, I was like, my mom was like, I'll buy you McDonald's if you go to that creepy place down in the basement to pay the electric bill. I'm like, no. But I was forced to. I didn't get the McDonald's, but I was forced to do that, right? But it's the same process of how we're shifting those skills and demands. We're looking at a better workflow, but also too, the processor of that electric bill is going to be changing. Instead of them opening up the envelope and then processing the check and putting it in the file cabinet for a later date to be processed by the bank. You're now in this electronic world where we are starting to see AI. It's like, you know what? I can process that check. I can show you the dashboards. I can show you what your projections are in any granular detail that you want. It can give you real-time analyses and be able to really see your creative mind is endless when it comes to AI in terms of where your capabilities are, how you're going to manage those items of where, those job roles that are pretty archaic at best, but you also don't want to lose Sally, who's been there for 40 plus years, right? Because Sally's a huge member of your team. She's your rock when you need expert advice on something that's been there for 50, 60 years, something along those lines where it's one of those valuable pieces. And so we're going to really dive deep now with automating with AI. I talked a little bit with how AI, the systems are automating repetitive tasks, like I said, the stamping aspect. But also, too, we're also looking at the collaborations between models, right? We're looking at, like, for example, Monday.com or ClickUp or even ServiceNow now, where you can have a chatbot in ServiceNow goes to a demand, the demand goes into a project, and you don't have anybody to really move that project, because I'm a Jira person. I'm sorry, but I'm a Jira person. But I tend to, you have to move it manually. Now it's instantaneous. Or you have a CRM, where you are attaching it to a Jira or a suite of tools for your company, and you're able to go from start to finish, and then you can also see 2 or 3 dashboards along the way. The other item too is the driven optimization aspect, where you're continually improving and refining the systems. A lot of times with technology comes technical debt. I don't know about y'all, but does anybody in this room doesn't deal with technical debt, like tech debt? You have to build a server, or you have to get more cloud storage, or you have to build something, or your cables in the walls are getting eaten up by rats, and you're like, well, shoot far, I got to do this. But also too, from a software standpoint, everybody's going to a SaaS system, like it's a monthly buy-in of things, and really, we're really looking at, how are we refining those processes? Because again, all these little things add up. They're really you're really seeing it as a holistic aspect. I know some of you guys are not technical, so I'm going to break it down as best as I can, but really, where we see infrastructure, we see software, and then we see hardware. Those 3 aspects of any project or any organization that you're in, AI is going to slowly start to implement, okay, you can start using the old floppies, you can start using the old decks, you can start using older hardware and not necessarily have to mesh well with certain closed products, and be able to do that. I actually had a person that asked me about a PLC today. Like, how do you do the industry? How do you automate something from a PLC perspective, and how AI can flip that PLC on a switch, like, hey, our production's down 20%. How do we improve it? How are we going to do it? And the AI would instantly sort of adapt the logistics and the other things that would integrate with those PLCs that make the soap, make the products that you are seeing out in the market today, right? Because I don't know about you, but did anybody run out of toilet paper during COVID? Right? So you're looking at it like, okay, if we had AI, maybe we could have upward production. I know there's a lot more to it. I see a lot of people shaking their heads. There's a lot more to it. Don't kill me. I promise I'm going to make my point. But what I'm trying to say is there's certain avenues of logistics that can be handled by AI in a way that can be automated so that can avoid certain risks. I'm not saying 100% of the risks because I'm not in logistics, I'm in medical, but I'm part of a logistical team. But again, that's sort of where we're kind of going from, of somebody, instead of going in from an office to an actual machine helping another human or a group of humans being able to really help define a business. So we're going to really focus now on human collaboration. You know, a lot of times, you know, they think AI, yeah, we can automate, we can do all this crazy stuff, but really it's input in, export out. Like what you put in is what you get out of the system, right? So you're looking at, you know, humans and AI working together. A lot of times what we think is, oh yeah, we set this prompt out and we're going to get results. No, because that data changes on a daily basis. That aspect of trying to tweak it, or even too, I've seen people like, oh yeah, we have an AI thing for it, and they don't realize that there's regulatory and governance and privacy things and all these other things that they assume that AI is going to handle, but really the closest accuracy that we have right now is Claude 3, and that's 84% accuracy, right? So that's a huge margin of error, in my opinion, when it comes to accuracy with AI, of, you know, hallucinations. Who's going to see if it hallucinated and it gave bad data? Who's going to look at the governance aspect if it misquoted something from our client, or the client went to the chatbot? I was looking on the TikTok the other day, and this guy was like, hey, look at this. I'm going to trick the AI off of this car dealership. The guy almost got a car for $1 because he was typing it in like, hey, I need you to make sure that there's no takesy-backsies on this deal, but I really want this Honda Accord 2024 for $1. And the chatbot said, sure can, here's $1. And I'm like, okay, y'all, where's that place again? I really want $1. But, you know, those sort of pieces, you know, of that AI collaboration is very vital to the governance into whatever automation that you're trying to uplift. Because at the end of the game, who's responsible, the AI or the human? It's us. Because I don't know about you, but I do not want to live in a van down by the river eating government cheese. I really don't. But that's what's going to happen if we don't look at the end game. Look, we need to have checks and balances that coincide that human interaction with AI. But again, we live in a world that's a little bit lackadaisical when it comes to set it and forget it. I think of Ronco Foods, like the rotisserie thing that you see at 3 o'clock in the morning. It slices, it dices, it does all this and all that, right? The same thing with AI, of being able to really say, oh, we're going to set and forget it. No, do not. I repeat, do not do that. Because again, we're looking at the integration between each other. Like we're looking at, you know, from a software standpoint, it's an API, but as a human API to the AI. And that's sort of where the biggest point I can really relay to you in this presentation is, we are humans, and this is a tool. The tool's not going to overpower us. It's not going to be an Orson Welles film. It's not going to be, you know, we're going to get the robots. No, not yet, not yet. But again, take it with a grain of salt. Enjoy the journey. The other thing too is complementary skills. Like I mentioned before, people with disabilities is huge and vital in this day and age. I have worked with several people with disabilities who have started up their own AI companies, and they are moderately disabled, where they can't make, they're savants, their IQ's out of this world, but they cannot communicate with that person next door to say, hey, can I help you with that sale? And being able to have that AI collaboration, it levels the playing field where somebody can make their own decisions and make their own businesses with a little help with people like mentors and things of that nature, but being able to level the field for everyone, right? And that's sort of where that collaboration really starts to tie in with being able to really leverage the capabilities and complementary skills, right? Because in the next 5 years, I'm looking at soft skills for PMs. I'm looking at, how, we've got AI doing all the dirty work for our analytics. We're doing all the number crunching, and really what project managers are people, right? We're people. We love people. We have to serve our people. We have to be able to really dive deep in that again, because again, it's all cyclical. I mean, I wasn't in the 80s, but there was no, TikTok, there was no Facebook, there wasn't anything, and people had to network, right? Human interaction. It's coming back around again, folks. History repeats itself, especially with technology, because we're going back to dial-up with AI. If you imagine AI is sort of the primitive, it's not primitive by no means, but it's almost to a primitive state in terms of adopting in a business. If it was a real deal Lucille kind of moment, yeah, I think everybody and their mother would adopt it. But again, that's just my opinion. But I've seen it time and time again. Like, the government hasn't used AI. They're doing pilots right now, but it's going to take 2 or 3 years, or even 10 years to get that rolled out to every functional employment agency that they have within the government. Or, for example, people in banking, they're like, David, I don't want those account numbers to be out in Claude land. I don't want those AI folks to be doing that. Yeah, I get that. It's going to take some time for discovery. It's going to be time for adaptation. I'm thinking in the next 5 to 10 years. So we're going to look more so into business ops now. So really, AI is really geared towards administrative functionality, right? It can make schedules for you. It can be able to really email anybody and their mother if you tell it to. It also is able to help you. I'm going to make a funny here, but really, if you had a bad day and you didn't like something, it can help change the tone of your emails so that you don't go to HR on Monday, right? Yeah, we all had that moment of, I'm going to write a heated email and I'm going to hit the send button and wait and see what happens on Monday, right? Everybody had that moment. But with AI, you have that administrative function going, oh, let me put that in AI, and maybe AI can remove those swear words, and so I don't get as much in trouble, right? So again, it's a little funny there, but again, it really helps in the long term of administrative functionality. Not to mention, too, we're looking at KPIs, you're looking at ROIs, you're looking at dashboards for executives. I know executives love numbers. They love charts. They love all the numbers in the world because they want to have a visionary cast, right? They want that vision. They want that, that, I call it the Iron Man thing where the guy Robert Downey Jr. pulls up that big fake screen in the air and just sees everything all at once. That's what they want to know. They want to feel the pulse of their company. And so with AI, they're able to do that functionality. The other thing too is, like I briefly mentioned before, is the AI customer experience. A lot of the customer experience is about instant gratification. They want it now. My stuff is broken. I want it done yesterday. And you have Sally that's sick. You've got Bob that's out on family medical leave. You've got all these other human factors that, I don't know, we might lose this client. This client's pretty huge. I don't know. Well, we can start using AI to supplement some of those interactions. Like I said before, Air AI is one of those interaction pieces. Is it the best? I don't know. I haven't really played with it all that much. I just get those constant emails and the constant sales demos that they show you. But again, it's one of those things where it's coming to fruition, where these things are going to happen, where there's going to be better customer interactions, but also too, there's going to be some blockages when it comes to customer interactions with AI. Because like I said, that dollar car, the guy was a software developer. I forgot to mention that. And he was able to manipulate those sort of things. And so really, it's trying to drive home that 20-second experience of instant gratification. Like, yes, my problem has been resolved. Or even stakeholders. I don't know about y'all, but sometimes I have stakeholders that are not the happiest people because, oh yeah, by the way, we've created this project and now it's, what, three weeks later? And they're like, well, I want it by April and it's March and there's no way of getting it done, right? And so being able to use AI to really pull that customer experience where as soon as they put that project plan into place, it automatically sort of says, wait, based on our knowledge, based on our company's data, we're able to say, no stakeholder, we can't do that. Y'all are smoking something that's illegal, right? So again, that's sort of where we're trying to take it as more of a experiential thing, because again, our customers are less inclined to be patient with us. They want something. They want gratification, instant gratification. One of the people that I mentor really drove home to me is like they're a TikTok mentality. They want a solution then and there, and then they want to change gears on a flip of the dime, and they want to ask you something else, right? Or if you're an IT help desk person, I don't know about you, but I've gotten those phone calls at 3 o'clock in the morning like, yeah, my computer doesn't work. Okay, have you plugged it in? Oh, cool, it works. We just wasted 2 hours of time for that employee, and that's double overtime at 3 o'clock in the morning. Being able to resolve those pieces is going to fundamentalize your way of business, right? And then also going into quality control. You know, a lot of times people say, oh yeah, let's put AI on the front end. You can do that. That's no problem. But no one's really thought about AI as a QC. You know, a lot of times we have scanners that scan products that go on conveyors, and based on the shapes and values, it goes into another bucket, and they have another QC person look at it, and then they ship it if it's good, or if not, they chuck it, or they put it in the recycling bin, depending on your industry, right? And really, you can really start to use AI as a second eye, or a third eye, or a fourth eye, really being able to really evaluate your quality control, because we're human. We're subject to error. I don't know about you, but I used to work at a restaurant off the coast of some rinky-dinky island off the coast of Florida, and one of the biggest things that we've done is shucking. If you ever shucked oysters, or if you ever shucked or did shrimp, you know, the guts, you know, I messed up and I forgot that I missed a shrimp, and we deep fried it, and the guy ate it, and they're like, ew, what's that? And I'm like, oh no. And trying to regain that customer's trust and regain that. But similarly in PMI world, in the PM world that we're in, we make mistakes. We have those QCs in place, but having an AI and be able to really streamline it where it can be parallel, or even in a sequential fashion where you have a QC in the middle and then another QC to reduce risk. You can, it's really flexible in those kind of ways. And then also we're going to look at strategy for a moment. So really, we're looking at integration. We really pounded hard on integration in terms of how to really look at it from an insider view. And then we're going to move forward a little bit in the cross-functional collaborations of stakeholders, like we talked about, with a more holistic approach. Also, too, I mentioned government oversight, and we're going to establish those processes to manage AI responsibly. I can't say this enough about the governance piece. So the NIST is doing some briefings on privacy and oversight now in the government space for all the regulatory. But again, we're only at the iceberg. I mean, the EU just passed a bunch of government and oversight, but let's get it down to a macro level. Let's get it down where you guys know, like in your land of governance and policies, where, you know, as a PM or as a person of managerial spots with the AI responsibility, you know, as a person, you can start to look at your policies and making sure that your governance are tight and making sure that those sort of things that don't fall through doesn't stab you in the back. You know, it may be flashy, it may be fancy, and it may give you a bunch of time, but when you let down your guard, that's when it kind of bites you in the tail, making sure that you're having those governance aspects. And then also, lastly, is what we're going to cover a little bit more so is in that continuous improvement, being able to refine. Because a lot of times in AI and most of technology, they set it and forget it. They go, okay, this is our technology. We may have a few upgrades, and then we'll kick it down the road a little bit. We'll just kick the can, as it were, just kick it down and see where it sticks, right? And so that's where we're kind of going at, is where we continually review AI strategy as it needs to evolve. But also, too, I don't know about you, but I've been looking at AI stuff now for about a year, and it's changing every week. How do you adapt? How do you adapt as a business? I mean, I look at a business as a Titanic ship, right? The huge boats, they can't turn on a dime. There's no way. It takes a little bit extra effort to get those turns to make the pivotal decisions. So how are we regularly reviewing and refining strategy? Is it weekly? Is it bi-monthly? What kind of things that would fit in your org? And then also, too, we need to identify the AI opportunities, you know. A lot of times what I like to do with a lot of the folks that I talk to as project managers is I go grab barbecue with them, and we brainstorm cases for their business. Being able to sit down, because right now, I don't know about y'all, but we're not in an adoption mode right now as a country. We're just not. We're in the discovery mode. We're in I call it the Willy Wonka phase, right? You know, it's like, it's pure imagination. I'm just waiting for the little Oompa Loompas to come out, the little flute, like, you know, and like, they're like, oompa, oompa. That's what I'm looking for right now. It's like, it's so beautiful, it's so fine, and there's a chocolate river, and everything's A-okay. But eventually, Augustus Gloom's going to jump into a pump, and then there's going to be little Wonkas running around singing and dancing, right? That's sort of what we're kind of going at, as being the brainstorm functionality of really understanding the opportunities. We also need to assess. You know, a lot of times we don't know what the assessment looks like. You know, as a new software, as a new functionality and technology, there's not a standardization of assessments. Do you guys have an assessment for AIs in your companies? No, right? And so that's sort of what we need to sort of start focusing on, is like, what is the gold standard for your company? Because there's going to be a gold standard eventually. I would say in the next year. I honestly think that in the next year or two, there's going to be a gold standard of, hey, this is the assessment that you need to start looking at as a discovery piece for your business. Or they're going to come up with a sales pitch for each little item for AI, like, you know, your ClickUps and your Monday.coms and all these other little businesses. They're going to start making their own sort of assessments for your business so that they can help you discover a little bit more so of what's really going on and how we can really evaluate the potential impacts, and is also the feasibility too. Because again, like I said, it's all about the constant change of AI and technology that's going to either make or break your business. I can't say that enough. It's like, yeah, we've just implemented a $2 million infrastructure with all these bells and whistles, but it could change next week. How do you make that move forward? But also too, we look at prioritization. I know a lot of folks in this room put technology on the back burner, right? A lot of folks from a medical standpoint, as well as non-technical aspects. They kind of put tech on the side. If it works, we don't bother it. If it's broke, don't fix it. And a lot of mentality of we don't break, there's no breaking, there's no buying, right? But really, we need to be a little bit strategic about what AI projects that you really want to do. What's your ROI? What's your investment really going to come out of? Like I spoke about Claude AI the other hour, and it's only $15 a month. That's a low cost, high reward in my book, right? Or even ChatGPT, same sort of price set. But also too, finding the little, like I keep saying to a lot of folks, is find the little ones that kind of get you going, and then try to pick out what you really want as a whole enterprise. Because again, it's just a sandbox. You know, find a sandbox and try to play in it, and try to really think. Because honestly, it's easier to build a sandcastle in a sandbox than it is in the ocean. Y'all hear me? Like a little tiny piddly thing, right? No risk. It's all in one little spot. Ocean, high tide, low tide, random people with frisbees, kids crying, you get hit with the frisbee, and then your sandcastle gets demolished the next day because somebody stepped on it, versus the sandbox. So again, it's about the prioritization, right? But also too, the scalability and the functionality of those items. Now this is my biggest piece out of this whole thing, is the workforce development. Learning to upskill your employees. Being able to really define those items, because you know those people that have been there for 20 plus years, or even the junior folks that are in your org, they can start changing their career path by being an inputter, an AI input specialist, where they input data into your AI. Instead of losing somebody on your team, you can start to implement them into your own AI strategy. So instead of trying to find another person, trying to find your cost of employment, the cost of being able to say, I've got to hire 20 more new people because I just lost all my stamp people, right? You can start to build those up. But as project managers, if you run an EPMO or run a PMO, this is an ideal opportunity to upscale your PMs, be able to really evaluate what kind of AI skills you need for your company, your industry. Because every industry is going to be different. They just came out with the lawyer AI not too long ago, where it's all about lawyers. Also, the PMI just came out with their PMI, project manager AI, to deal with their discussions there too. So again, it's all about trying to find and upskill the current workforce for their driven roles. Also too, developing AI-specific training programs. One of the biggest pieces that I really liked is just learning the basis, right? I remember when coding was all the fad back in the 90s, like code. You must know C script, you must know HTML, you must know this, you must know that. And look how it progressed into a lot of those folks going into coding, a lot of going into development, but also too looking at the other capabilities as well of, okay, we've got project managers that need really help with scoping. What AI tool can we help with for that specific thing? Or asking AI how to develop a learning module based off of the weaknesses of your teams. And then you can actually pull all the data from their performance assessments, and then you can find those areas that you can really refine and really build. And then the last one is, fostering digital literacy in AI competencies. Being able to say, you know what, as a company, we need to do better. We need to be able to really foster this. Hey, it's cool that you use AI, but don't use it at work. Or here's some parameters. Give them something to gnaw at, because at the end of the day, they're still people and they still want to learn. Because a lot of times burnout really happens when they're not learning anything. They're stuck. They're in the mire of the clay, as it were. And really, we need to bring that literacy up for AI competencies, because again, I remember when I started out in my career, it was all about Word, Office, right? Learning Excel, learning how to use Project. Oh God, I hate Project. But again, learning how to do all those things where you're basically replacing the word Office products or MS Word or Word Perfect for those who are older. But Word, all those things, we're just replacing that with AI. We're replacing that with other future models and really trying to really build our teams up, because again, letting go people costs money. Hiring people back to that workforce costs money. But the really big KPIs here is if you train your employees now and they've already bought into your culture, they already know the code to the copier, that's half the battle, trust me. But again, that's sort of where we're at. Being able to say, you know what, you bought into our culture, let's take care of you. Let's get you to the next generation, because those folks, I'm telling you, their work expectancy now is 3 to 5 years, and they do bunny hops. They're not there for 20 years. They're not there for, you get the gold watch and the parachute and all that. No, none of that. And again, that's sort of what I'm trying to get at is, if we take care of our employees in the AI realm, we'll be able to maintain them a little bit more and be able to share the wealth amongst the industry, because eventually what comes around goes around to us, right? And I really, really strongly, really telling you that literacy is king, because there's people out there that are in struggling areas that are dying to get into AI roles, because it can bring more value to them, because pride and their sense of worth will bring much more than a bigger paycheck. It helps, but having that ability to have that self-worth is going to be crucial. And I'm going to break some numbers down with you a little bit. So from digital literacy and AI, we're looking from COVID-19, there was 30 million digital workers. Out of that, it opened up a new field with remote work and being able to open up the new world of, for example, I live in Chattanooga, and we only had maybe 200 tech professional project managers in that. We know each other's names. We went to barbecues together. We played kickball together, the whole nine, right? But when the pandemic opened up, the whole world opened up. And so you have a new wealth of people, places, things, and really all these people were dying to get more training, more opportunities, because again, they're no longer stuck on an island anymore. They have the whole world at their grasp because it's remote, right? And so when we look at the AI investments too, we're looking at 65 AI companies reached $1 billion valuations, up 442% from the previous year, and that's from the Global AI Market Report in 2023. So again, these AI companies have really risen their evaluations. They're really trying to ramp up. Like for example, Claude AI just got billions of dollars from Amazon and Google. ChatGPT got some money from other people, but they're starting to ramp up because they realize that this data literacy thing, this AI stuff, it's gonna hold on a little bit more. And they're taking the risk of trying to develop something that's more productable. That's a word of mine, but being able to really say, you know what, here's the market. Let's meet the market where it's at. And also too, let's look at a little bit on the AI skilled workforce. So we're looking at identifying the needs, identifying the AI skills gaps, because again, it could be simple as grammar, right? I know Grammarly is huge with AI, with some of their functionalities. And honestly, that's half the battle. If they can write well to a an external person, you're going to get a better outcome of being able to work with those folks versus somebody that may not be as polished. It may diminish your value from an external stakeholder. Also, too, like I said, upskill those employees, providing AI training, being able to say, hey, we can't teach you everything, but here's the basis. Here's how to put a prompt together. Here's how to do something simple. There's tons of AI training right now, and it's practically free. All you have to do is point them to the wealth of the water, as it were, of drinking from it, because there's tons of stuff out there. I mean, we have two AI classes that are free right now on PMI's website. That's an easy win. I don't know about you, but I like free. I like free, especially donuts and ice cream. I mean, I don't know about y'all, but that's where I'm at. But also, too, being able to recruit people like myself, or like people who know the industry a little bit more deeper than some, and being able to say, you know what, here's 6 months, here's a salary for you, go and conquer that discovery. And again, really just being able to upskill your employees. I can't emphasize that enough, because as the world goes, your employees will go as well. So I'm encouraging you guys to really provide those programs to build skills. Like I said, it's the new Word. It's the new Excel. Being able to do that. The other thing too is being able to have hands-on learning, like we did today in our workshop. Yeah, it was pretty all right, right? But again, if you're in a company setting, you could do it so much on a granular level where it's dedicated to what you have in your shop, in your organization, and being able to really refine it's not like building a grocery list. No, it's like how to develop relationships with new clients, how to build those marketing skills, how to really make yourself known to a lot of other folks by increasing their, taking their weaknesses and improving upon it on a one-on-one basis, or even a group setting. And again, too, continuous education. I strongly believe that employees must have education. They long for it. They want it. Some don't, but that's okay. That's a few and far in between. But really looking at continuous education for folks and being able to take care of their employees, because in the AI field, it's going to go hot and fast, I believe. Like in AI, there's not really a certification yet. It's coming. There's going to be some certifications, but once we get them, those people who have invested into AI early on and they have an early advantage. So again, being able to say, you know what, here's a free product, go forth and conquer, that's going to be huge. But also too, there's going to be, I'm going to imagine that education and other means will happen as well. So again, keep education in mind. Always keep your employees learning. Because again, AI is just a thing today. What's tomorrow? We don't know. But if we keep current on the same things and keeping able to really finite and being able to be a progression, I think your satisfaction of your employees and the outpouring of your success will show. I guarantee it. Also, to look at the leadership and ethics in the AI age. We have to be more geared towards ethical problems with AI, being able to see what is crucial for implementation, as well as what kind of guidance and help can ensure AI is used for the greater good. Like I mentioned the other day, today, the guy had a $1 car, right? That was a bad actor, technically. But look at the greater good, but also to protect those that are weak. Because a lot of times when we look at technology, there's also a good and a bad side of things, right? And so being able to be the balance of that manager, of the project manager, being that person, being the fulcrum of good and bad. Because a lot of times you're the last stop of quality. You're the last stop of that deliverable. You're the one that's responsible for those projects and ensuring that these things need to happen. But also, too, we have to have the integrity to keep the balance at bay. Because, again, we don't have a lot of regulatory around this stuff. We don't. So it's up to us as individuals to really maintain that. And then really quickly going into just really simple transparency, accountability, fairness, and privacy. You know, we've got to start looking at these 4 items to really get home what we need. We need to explain the systems. We need to be transparent with our stakeholders. We need to be transparent with the people who are working on these AI things, and also being accountable, and also being fair and not being biased towards certain things. I know I'm a little biased towards certain AIs, but I shouldn't be, and I'm working on that. I go to AAAI on the weekends. But really, folks, really being able to really do that, but not to mention, too, as people are starting to implement it, understand the privacy repercussions, being able to look at privacy and saying, what is the stakeholders? How are we going to manipulate that in our culture? How are we going to protect our customers in terms of privacy? So some of the quick tools that I really recommend really quickly, you know, we have the Google Assistants that really helps. It's an AI, but it's a language model AI. We have Grammarly. I love that thing to death. For the analytic nerds, we have the IBM Cognos Analytics. And lastly, my buddy, my do or die kind of tribe, Claude AI. I love that thing. That's what really hits home, right? But also too, we need to protect ourselves, but also too, we need to start to branch out onto newer tools. But then again, we need to take action to prepare for this AI-driven workplace and really upskill your workforce, integrate your strategy, and unlock the power of human collaboration. And I thank you so much for attending this class. And if you need me, my LinkedIn's right there. And thank you so much, and you guys have a wonderful day.